Hey, what's up, Superdads? And everyone else. So, I'm here to tell you today why 90% is more than 100%. What exactly am I talking about? Here's what I'm talking about. From what I can tell, from what I can gather, from my various readings and experiences with the research about hypertrophy and strength gains, one set to failure, done to failure, is enough to produce close to, if not exactly, 90% of the gains that you're going to get if you were to do, 3 sets or something like that. And after 3 sets, it really trails off very quickly. What? Does that mean that 1 set is less effective than 3 sets? Look, I don't know. Not in my experience. Obviously, it comes down to individual variables, individual variance. I'd say that for some people it might be, for some it might not. But I'm directly going to specifically speak about the research here. If 90% can be gained from just 1 set, and it takes 1 or 2 more sets to get to 100%. Are you leaving 10% on the table? No, you're not. 90% is more than 100% in this case, and here's the reason why. I've done the multiple set thing. I did it for a decade. And you know what happened during that decade? Almost without exception, I would injure myself semi-severely one time during the year. Most of the time it was back problems, sometimes it was shoulder problems, and I also had some hip stuff near the end. All of it went away when I switched to doing a single, very controlled, smooth, tempoed, nice and slow, not overly slow, just with a mindset of controlling the weight and focusing on what the weight was doing to my muscles rather than on what my muscles could do to the weight. That mental shift for me was a linchpin that changed so much. And as a result, I just had my first year and a half without having a big injury. In fact, a lot of the injuries I had went away. And it's hard to do the math on this, but because each time you get an injury, it's different. But, I was out of training essentially for 2 months straight because of a low back problem, and that kept recurring. So if I'm going to lose 2 months of training, I'd rather just get 90% consistently and be able to consistently train and not, go for 100% of the gains and then end up with 0% of the gains for some large portion of the year. 2 months out of a year is more than 10% of the year, so really it should make up for it. Now, extrapolate that to a lifetime. There are people who get injured and they're out for 6 months. There are a lot of people who, using the traditional approach, get injured and they just fall off training. It takes too long for it to get better. Rehab is too frustrating. They have negative associations with working out, with exercise from that point on, and they're always scared that it's going to happen again. Well, what if they had just kept at it, getting 90% consistently, week over week, for their entire lives? And that is why 90% is more than 100. Not even saying necessarily that you are only getting 90%. That hasn't been my experience. But some food for thought. Thanks for watching.